can you migrate tickets between two next gen projects? Well, there was a question on the community today from Ashley Campbell, and Ashley is asking about how can we migrate tickets between two next gen projects. You can definitely move tickets from one next gen project to a different next gen project, but she is basically saying that the fields or the values stored in the fields are not retained after the move. So let us see how it looks like. And to be honest, when you're working with next-gen projects, there are new features coming in quite regularly, and Atlassian is updating next-gen projects, I think almost every other month. But for the time being, I don't think the custom field values will be retained. And John already replied to Ashley about this, but I was thinking maybe let us give it a try. Let us see if it is really the case, because last time I worked on next gen projects was maybe 3 or 4 months back, and it has been a while. So I'll also learn something new today. So in my Jira instance, I'll open my next gen project, which is one of the project which is creative team, and I will open one more, maybe new workflow. I think these two projects I think are similar. So I'll open the configuration of both the projects. So my creative team project, if I go to the project settings and if I go to the issue type, I will take a look at task, and I will also take a look at the fields. So we have, of course, a few fields like creative team, deadline, and designers. So what I'll do, I'll go to the new workflow project. I will make sure that I have those fields or fields with similar name or same name, and let us see how it works. So I'll go to task, and I do have one field called designer. What I'll do, I'll probably create one more called creative team deadline, which is of course of type date. So I'll drag date from my field on the right hand side, and I will drag it here maybe. So let us name it as creative team deadline. Deadline is with a different spelling. Let us fix it and take a look at the fields now. So we have creative team deadline and designers. So we have two fields. So we have these fields for sure. And let us see how it works. So what I'll do, I'll go to my creative team, and then I'll create one issue of type task. So I'll select the option on top called creative team. Then I'll create a task from creative team project, and this is my description of the task. I'll make sure we have a couple of paragraphs so it looks good. So let us fill up the field, the custom field. So creative team deadline, let us say it is tomorrow, 30th of October. Designers is a user picker field, so I'll probably pick a few users. I'll assign it to myself. I'll maybe also update some labels. So I'm filling up these fields because I want to show you what all we can move, and things that are project specific, of course, like things like versions won't really work, I guess. Let us see. I'll also update the sprint information. Let us add it to sample sprint 2, or let us just add it to one sprint, SP sprint 1, or maybe CTS sprint 2. Let us keep it, let us select sample sprint 2. And story point estimate, maybe I'll add 12, or maybe 12 is a bit too much. Maybe 7, it's a bit complex. Fix version, let us use version 1. I'll not worry about start date, due date, report as me. I'll also add some linked issues, maybe Boris Johnson. And that is it. Let us create this issue and then we'll move it. And let us see what all we can do when we move, what all is moved. So we have this issue where we have the summary and we also have the description. And on the right hand side, we have the creative team, deadline, designer, assignee, label, sprint, story point estimate, fixed version. Let us try to move it now. So I'll go to the 3 dots on top and I'll click on move. And I can now specify my new project. So my new project is a new workflow and my new issue type is task in new workflow project. Let us click on next. And I want to keep the status as to do. So it is good because it is giving you the option to map the status. And let us see what all we can do now. So this is interesting. So we have the option on top called your destinations task issue may have different field settings than your source project. Okay. Update the values for fields in these issues or select retain to keep the field's current value. Component and version field data is permanently lost. Okay, so we can't do anything about component and version, so it is very clear. Other incompatible fields will appear empty even if you choose to retain their values. Okay, so it says other incompatible fields will appear empty. So I guess it is talking about those fields in a next-gen project. And there is a link here. I guess if you read the link, you can probably know what all we can move. So let us search for custom fields. Yep, okay. So custom fields. So we do have some information about custom fields. These must be created in your new next-gen project. Next-gen project fields are independent from global custom fields. When you move issues to a next-gen project, Jira retains most of your issues' global custom field values except component and version, okay? But we don't map them to your next-gen project's fields. So your global custom field data is stored against your issues, but the fields in your classic projects are technically different from fields in next-gen destination, so they appear blank. This data is not lost except component and version field. If you move issues back to your classic project that supports the custom field, the original values stored against it reappear. So let us see how it works. So what I'll do, I'll select here retain and let us see what will happen. And let us click on next. I don't see that date field here. Oh, no, there is a date field here. Okay, so designer field and creative team field. It says remove fields. Okay, although creative team deadline field was not there for the retain option. Okay, anyways, let us click on confirm and let us see how it looks like. So when we move the issue, it is of course doing bulk operation, of course, just for one issue, but it is not really a bulk issue or bulk operation. Anyways, okay, so we'll acknowledge it, and now we are in new workflow project. Let us wait for it to refresh, and we can see here the task summary. We can see the description. On the right hand side, we can see labels. So labels moved. Sprint information is retained because I think sprints are for boards and boards are above your project, or it's a different level, different layer, I guess. Story point estimation, okay, fine, it is retained. Designer value is not retained. So this is something that you need to be aware of. And also the date part is missing. Let us try to move it back. Let us see what happens if we move it back to the to the uh, original issue. But before that, I was thinking of a, oh, let us also take a look at the history. I think history is always I'm always curious to see what is there in the history. So if you look at the history, it says the task moved to task, and the key changed, the issue key, and the deadline is now none. The fixed version is also none, and I'm basically looking for the designer field. So yeah. So it says Ravi Sakar updated the designer. So it doesn't really say that it is now none. So that is slightly different here now, and I think this looks all right to me now, and I will probably move it back. So let us move it back to the original issue. So I'll click on the move again to the original project, which is creative team. So let us see if those field values are restored. So I'll select creative team again, and then I select next. Okay, no change in the status. I'll retain my status, and I think we'll get the same option here, like designer and creative team. Deadline, I'll retain the values. I'm not sure if I'm doing the right thing, because there was a line somewhere in the document in the documentation that the values will reappear if you move it back. So let us see. Confirm. I don't think it will come back, but I might be wrong. So always try it out. That is how I learn. I always play with things. Acknowledge, because documentation may not always be absolutely clear, and you just need to try it yourself. All the documentation is clear, but I think I was not really sure about that line that says the field value might reappear. So creative team deadline is none, or designer is also none. So no, the field values are not coming back, or didn't come back. If I look at the history, so yep. So there is no information about the designer and the designers and the creative team deadline field. So I think we did learn something new today, and I think the whole idea of this video was to show you what will happen to your fields that you create in a next-gen project. Those fields will not migrate. The values in those fields will not migrate, because those fields are project specific. If you want to do that, use classic Jira projects. So I hope you learned something new today, and you also enjoyed watching this video. Thank you very much.